And you know what? I'm not so far away from that again, believe it or not. But if Biden gets in, the market will crash.
Would call history in the most scary. Don't say that.
We have never been down 1,000 points ever, not even intraday on the NASDAQ.
Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. Down 6% right from the get-go. This is heavy big tech. Here we go. Look at them go down. Microsoft is down $20. That's 5%. Alphabet, 5%. Meta, 6%. Amazon, 6%. Apple, 9% down. Let's pull out Apple. This is interesting.
All that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, that is called Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics, and we are very proud of Bidenomics. Bidenomics is working. Yeah, go ahead and clap.
Still planning to vote for Kamala, huh? This is what we should be asking everybody that's who just experienced the stock market, the lowest in 53 years, I think, the biggest drop in 53 years for the Nasdaq, Dow. I don't know anymore. But the funny part is, in 2020, when Donald Trump was running against Joe Biden, almost everything that that Donald Trump predicted from an economic policy perspective has happened to us in 2024. It seemed like a lot of the things that the Biden administration and then a lot of their executives were doing was just delaying the inevitable. Trump talked about how, hey, he's going to wreck the economy. Hey, your 401k is going to be screaming red if you put that guy in office. I can bring the clips up, but I'm sure you can go review the clips of the 2020 debate between him and Biden. And the media shrugged it off. They said, oh, Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. But now I'm looking at the polls, and in some polls, Kamala Harris is ahead of Trump. And some of the reasons given for why people said they're supporting Kamala Harris, the biggest reason given for why people are supporting Kamala Harris is because she's a new generation. Yes, you heard that right. New generation. For Trump, because of his first term. Majority of people who are supporting Trump is supporting Trump because of his first term, aka policy. This is why I laugh when these people try to bring up this narrative that Trump is scared to debate Kamala. And Trump said anywhere, any place, but Trump did not say anyone. He said that was for Biden. And since you brought up a new candidate, that means there must be new terms. Kamala has to know how to negotiate for herself. She can't be sitting here and acting like a spoiled child, inheriting everything from Joe Biden. She has to work for something, guys. Come on now. And they wonder why she gets labeled a DEI hire by the right. Before I go on to this next clip showing you how incompetent Kamala Harris is and the advisors around them. No wonder this economy went to crap because of the pathetic advisors they had around them. But before we get into that, I want to give you a Thomas Sowell quote. Nothing is easier than to have good intentions, but without an understanding how an economy works, good intentions can lead to disastrous consequences for a whole nation. Sending money to Ukraine, $1.7 billion. Apparently, they did an audit on the Inflation Reduction Act, and they found out some of the money, some of our taxpayer money for the reduction Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, somehow got funneled into terrorist organizations. Somehow that money found their hands in terrorist organizations. Look at the mismanagement. Oops, we just lost a couple $1 million, and it somehow ended up in the hands of terrorists. Incompetence. Yet we got people, half of this country, willing to incentivize and reward this incompetent administration by electing their VP as president of the United States in 2025. You crazy as hell. We deserve this. Hey, if we elect Kamala Harris, we deserve what we got. This economy that we're experiencing, black women, y'all are happy. Oh, yeah, we put Biden into the White House. Oh, are you happy now? Many people here lost 20% of their earnings. My 401k was like at 10K or something. It went down to 8. I lost 20% just for today. And people are still willing to vote Kamala Harris? And then when we argue, hey, yo, she got no policy, she got nothing to stand on, y'all not supporting her, what she accomplished as VP, y'all can't give me answers. But when polled, you say, yeah, it's because it's a new generation, aka first woman of color, Gen X, first Gen X president. This is the superficial crap that people are voting for Kamala Harris for. You may be able to ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of reality. You want more of this? You want more of this economy? Talking about never going back. We can't go back to good times, better times, 2019 economy. We can't go back down to average inflation being 1.4%. American lifestyles is 20% more expensive because we lost 20% of our buying power. Our dollar is worth 20% less than it did prior administration. Bro, I'm done. I'm done rambling. Let's check out this clip about some of the advisors that the Biden-Harris administration had around them. Let's take a look.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to,
That was the chief economic advisor for the Biden-Harris administration. Is it no wonder they don't know what they're doing? Is it no wonder they don't know that what they're doing is causing higher rates of inflation? Right? This is what happens when you listen to liberal economists. What he's talking about is a theory called modern monetary theory. Now, this is something I brought up on this channel before. I don't want to get into a long-winded explanation, but the quick version of it is, this is from a conservative point of view. So when I'm explaining the modern monetary theory to you, I'm criticizing it. Essentially, what it is there's a money supply, and let's say right now $100 can buy you 50 stuff, right? And the government prints money. So before the market can account for the excess increase in the money supply, the government has essentially duplicated $100. So that means the government could buy, let's say it printed $300. The government can then buy 150 products based on their current value. And after some time, after the money supply starts circulating in the market, the buying power of every individual dollar goes down because the supply increased, supply and demand, right? That's the fundamental truth about the economy. So what he was stumbling and fumbling and mumbling about was he didn't want to explain the consequences of doing that. He wants to sit here and pretend that the government can sit here and print money like invisible, like liquid gold or something. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of conservative economists want the dollar to be backed by gold to prevent the government from doing this, because every dollar has to be backed by something. This is one of the reasons why also I was so pissed off, and I think it didn't get any media coverage. I was surprised it did not get any media coverage, was the fact that we lost the petrodollar, which is, hey, the US dollar equaled one Saudi Arabia gold oil. Right? Because our dollar is backed by a commodity, which made it more durable to resist inflation. But Biden let the deal just expire. And it's no wonder why we're facing such a bad economy now. It's no wonder why inflation is so out of control now. Why the Fed is resistant in cutting rates. My problem here is, and this is my most libertarian position, is we want to end the Federal Reserve, because I believe the Federal Reserve is the closest thing to socialism we have in the American economy. Imagine us as the private market being beholden to the whims of one individual or a group of people in the government, whether or not they want to cut rates, whether or not that we get cheaper debt or more expensive debt. We're all beholden to these small groups of people, and based on their decision making, they cause consequences across the entire society. And we already seen the government doesn't have a good track record of actually doing stuff. And this is my point about good intentions versus results and outcomes. It's outside the government's power to actually increase your quality of life. That's something you are responsible for. The government is a referee. They only can empower you, enforce the rules, and keep everyone honest. The government is not really made to come into your life and make your life better. Prime example is the Department of Education. When the Department of Education was created, before the Department of Education was created, the United States was #1 in education. After it was created in 2008, we became number 24th. Government intervention doesn't make anything better. It makes things worse because you have you manage essentially things that happen spontaneously that just works because everyone makes these little micro decisions that bubbles up into a generally good outcome for everyone else. But then when you put centralized actors in there, centralized planners, this is socialism. This is why I don't like socialism, because end of the day, it's the epitome of intellectual human ego and arrogance to think you know what's best for the economy. Oh, I think 4% is too high. It needs to be 1%. And we're experiencing the failures of that policy right now. But we keep having these liberal economists telling us how good modern monetary theory is. No wonder the guy resigned. Here it is. Here's the receipts. Donald Trump warned stocks will disintegrate if he loses, but stocks are climbing ahead as Biden pulls ahead. This was of July 8th, 2020. Trump warns the market will crash if he loses. Investors just laugh. Updated. This is February 27, 2024. Global stock markets plummet across the board from Japan to Europe. Everything's collapsing. Y'all ain't laughing now. Where y'all laughing now? Y'all ain't laughing now. Bad economic policy. And y'all want to vote in Kamala Harris? When are the American people going to get tired of voting incompetence? But this is what happens when you have low information voters voting in the election. And my job here is I want to create more informed voters. And the only way you're going to get more informed voters is if you challenge them. Hey, why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Answer that question for me. Based on what I observe in the polls, based on my studies, 66% of people who support Kamala Harris are saying it's because she's a new generation. She's Gen X. She's a woman. She's this. She's a breath of fresh air just because she's new. So you can get the same dumb policies, the same incompetent policies that give you the current results we're living in today, and you'll still vote for that same service, that same product, because now it's being represented by a different person. Make that make sense to me, America. Make that make sense. Now, look at this next clip about a business economist, a Fox business analyst called Charles Payne, how he goes off on the Biden administration. And I agree with him. And this is the problem I have with a lot of liberals is that they don't seem to understand how to be practical. They live in imagination. They suffer more from imagination than from reality. And this is what's going on right now. If you ask them why you don't vote for Trump, they're going to tell you something about suffering in imagination. Oh, he's going to be a fascist, a dictator. He's going to end democracy. What does end democracy mean? Can you explain that? Can you articulate that for me? They can't. Oh, Project 2025, I don't want to. What is Project 2025? And what about Project 2025 are you concerned about? Can't tell me nothing. But they just know they're supposed to be scared of that. More frightened than they are hurt. You're hurt by the current economy. You're hurt by your 401k going down. You're hurt by the fact that you can buy 20% less items with the current amount of money you got today. Right now, there's fears of a recession coming. This is reality. But what the Democrats got people who support Kamala worrying about? An imaginary world about Donald Trump ending democracy, about Donald Trump being the next American Hitler. What? I'm telling you, if you let a Democrat get a hold of you emotionally, they'll manipulate you like an abuser. But I digress. Let's take out this clip with Charles Payne, how he unloads on the economic policies of the Biden-Harris administration. Let's take a look.
Close to making money over on Fox Business.
Good morning. Good morning.
Nice to see you.
There's just so much. I just wanted to say that statement from the Harris White House or from Harris was really intriguing about President Trump almost bringing us to a recession. Mm-hmm. We were in a recession under President Trump, but it was because of COVID. Here's the thing, though. The actions that were taken led us to the shortest recession in history. This is a different type of recession that we're in the cusp of right now. This is not because of a once-in-a-century element that no one saw coming and had the lockdown in an entire global economy. This is because of policies that triggered 40-year high inflation that have now taken a massive toll on the economy. Now, here's what's happening. This jobs report, this was a referendum, really, the market reaction on Jay Powell. I would say 60% of what we're looking at right now is on Jay Powell. Comes at his head
of the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve, their job was to quell inflation, and their job is to sort of unwind what they've done. They're really taking a deliberate steps to kind of back off on that. I think another 20% would be growth. Growth is slowing a lot faster than anyone thought or expected. Some did, I did, but, the experts, did not.
Charles, can I just stop you there? Because it seems like the economy has just catapulted itself to the top of the list. It had been there before, but really it just seems like it's prominent. And here's the difference. Changes in wages and inflation since the Biden-Harris administration. Inflation's up more than 21%, right. And real wages are down about 2%.
This is the reality. This is the reality. Like, look at it. There go the numbers. 21% inflation. That means if you didn't get a raise between the time Donald Trump stepped down from office and now, your buying power lost 21% of its power. That means if you're making six figures, let's say you make $100K a year and you never got a raise since 2021, your buying power is equivalent to $80,000 just from 2020. And all this idea that, oh my God, Trump had the worst economy ever during the 2020 years, negating the fact that COVID happened. And I hate when the left play these games. Like, there's no explanation for why Trump went to a recession in 2020 because of COVID, because of an unprecedented illness that swept the globe. But here they are talking about Donald Trump is scared to debate Kamala Harris. If Donald Trump debates Kamala Harris, it's a wrap for her. It's a wrap. So this narrative they're trying to put, oh my God, Donald Trump is running scared, Mr. Anytime, anywhere, any place. But Trump didn't say anyone. They conveniently left that part off. They conveniently left out the part where the agreement was between him and Joe Biden, and Joe Biden dropped it. Now you're trying to come in with a new person. They have to set new terms because the conditions of the contract changed. Make it make sense. But these people, they love their narrative so much. They just love it. Because they can't stand on the facts. Because at the end of the day, it seems like the mainstream media, they don't care about informing voters. They don't care about telling people what the truth is. They seem like the only thing they really care about is to get you to believe in a perception, to believe in an imagination, and you vote based on that imagination. Oh my God, look at this caricature we have of Trump. Here's this narrative we have of Trump. He's a Trump. Trump is a racist. He's this. He's that. He's this. He's the most evil thing since Spike on a pig. But what you're experiencing now, this is the reality. These are the consequences of the policy that Kamala Harris supported. The Inflation Reduction Act, there's a reason why I brought it up. Because she was the deciding vote. It was split 50-50. Republicans had their reasons why they didn't support the bill. Democrats fully supported the bill. And Kamala Harris was the deciding vote. And she voted for this. And then you found out the Inflation Reduction Act, millions of taxpayer money somehow got in the hands of terrorists, making the world more dangerous. The Inflation Reduction Act didn't reduce inflation at all. Now we got growing fears of a recession. What was the point? Like, what was the purpose of passing the bill? The Democrats are all flash, no substance. They push bills, they give it these fancy titles. The intentions, remember in the beginning of my video about the Thomas Sowell quote? The intentions of this bill is Inflation Reduction Act. What was the result, America? So just because someone packaged it nice, it's still a piece of crap. It was a piece of crap policy, but the people keep voting for it because they package it differently. Same old policies that give you the results that you're experiencing today, but now it's a biracial woman pushing them. Now it's better somehow? America, we got to stop falling for this, bro. Americans like to complain, oh, we got to pick between two parties, the lesser of two evils. We don't got good candidates. Why are these our only choices? Because this is what you reward, America. This is what you reward. If you want better policies, better politicians, you have to be better voters. You have to be more discerning voters. You have to be more knowledgeable voters. Come on now. If this was common knowledge and we knew all the outcomes of the policy, hey, the policy that Biden pushed, this is the outcomes. You can't be pushing the same thing, Kamala. You gotta give us something different. She'll be forced to give something different or lose the election. But if you never give them a consequence, it's like raising a child. If you never punish your child for breaking the rules or enforcing your boundaries or doing none of that, the kid's going to be like, oh, I can just do whatever I want, and I'm still going to get rewarded for my behavior. This is how you treat the Democratic Party. This is how black people complain about the Democratic Party and how they're in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, how they feel taken advantage of by the Democratic Party. It's because you still fall for the same ish. Same policies. This is the current result of the policies. You're just going to get more of the same. Insanity is doing the same thing, voting for the same party over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you want change, it's outside of your comfort zone. That's my parting message. This is why Kamala Harris is an incompetent presidential choice. And if all Americans was moderately politically informed, she will lose with a landslide, like loss. She will lose as a landslide. That's just my personal opinion. Let me hear yours in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.